It's not obvious at first glance, but the armor you're seeing here is not made of metal. In fact, it's mostly 3D printed plastic. My name is Nico, a mechanical engineer by trade. I design and craft historically accurate 3D printed costume armor. Today, I'll walk you through my process of turning plastic prints into convincing finished prop parts. Let's go! First off, and feel free to skip this if you want to go straight to the technical stuff. English is not my first language. This happens to be my first YouTube video. I'm not sure what I'm doing. To be quite honest, I've been a bit overwhelmed with how successful this armor making journey has been. Thank you everyone who has supported me and helped me get this far. I made this video so I could share some techniques. Feel free to ask questions. I will read everything. Leave me honest feedback, critique in the comments below. I've also added some text information in the video regarding the exact products I use, as well as some extra technical tips. Feel free to pause at any time if you need to read additional information. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching, and let's get on with the interesting stuff. I'm not here to teach you how to print stuff. My printer is a very modest Ender 3. Sometimes it's an angel, and at times it's a complete piece of trash. Here, you'll see what the parts look like fresh off the printer. They're somewhat matte because I printed these in carbon fiber PETG. They're not perfect. There's even an ugly seam line I left there by accident, and some surface defects that will need fixing. Here I'm using Bondo Glazing Putty, applied using a gloved finger or some kind of scraper. Bondo dries very fast and without bubbles, which allows you to fill the seam lines created when joining two prints together. Give it a few hours to dry and to harden. It'll change color, and now it can be sanded down. I sand it down roughly before going to the next step, applying a layer of filler primer from a rattle can. There are many brands. Some are thicker and runnier than others. Find your favorite one and leave it to dry at least 6 hours. Longer is better. It dries to a harder shell. It's perfectly normal and fine to have imperfect parts after this step. To smooth down the part, we need to sand it. Dry sanding primer is awful. I will gum up the sandpaper and that gives awful results. We will do wet sanding instead. This cools down the part and it doesn't allow the sandpaper to clog, but it's messier. Once you've removed most of the primer, in fact, you will see this striped surface. That means you're done. The surface should feel very smooth to the touch. I washed all my parts underwater. I let them dry, and then I ran another coat of primer, just to benefit from the paint's self-leveling properties and to assess the result of the sanding. This time, the surface was essentially flawless and ready for the next step. You can always go back and repeat the wet sanding if it's necessary. I use a rattle can, very basic can of glossy black enamel paint. I layered it on the parts to get a single good coat, making sure to avoid drips and runs. You can use an airbrush, but I find that the rattle can is much faster and it gives great results. After giving the black base a full 24 hours to dry, I ready my airbrush with some Alclad II chrome paint. This stuff is miraculous. It comes pre-thinned, it's easy to apply. You just airbrush it on at about 15 psi. Stop while you're ahead. It needs a very thin coat, almost translucent. You sort of see the black gloss still shining through. It will lose its mirror shine if you apply too much, which I have done by accident many times in the past. After the Alclad has dried at least 4 hours, I seal it in with a layer or two of Alclad Aqua Gloss. This is a water-based clear coat varnish, and it's the only one I know that successfully covers the Alclad high shine paints without dulling the mirror reflections. It applies on milky white and it dries clear. After that, feel free to weather the parts with some oil paints, or you can leave them shiny and pristine. At this point, you're done. The parts can be assembled following my instruction guide. If you're a visual like me, seeing the process up close usually helps. Let me know how it goes for you. I've included the list of products and tools that I used in the description below. For those who have purchased my designs, thank you immensely for the support. I wish you all the best in your armor crafting endeavor. And to everyone, thank you for watching. Happy crafting. Have a nice day.